Welcome one and all, Nyanko here, and I am going to be talking about a very small but lovely show today called Boku SS. So this is probably an older show now by most people's standards. I absolutely still adore it. So if you don't know what it is, basically it's about a young girl called Riichio who moves into this big mansion called Maison de Ayakashi, which is a specialist house where everyone who moves in has their own Secret Service member, and she is allocated Soshi Mikitsukami as her bodyguard. But there's a secret about this particular mansion. So everybody who lives and works in this mansion has yokai blood in them, and they're kind of a throwback to their ancestor that like bred into the family, and every couple of generations they pop up and they bring good luck to their families. And most of the families who have a throwback in them are very prominent families, and they're very rich families. Now, not all of them are. Some of them have fallen into like disrepute, or just never got super rich, or the family just kind of petered out. So yeah, you have Riichio, who is, she's got like a ram demon or something. You've got Mikitsukami, who's a fox, although he was kind of heavily abused in his family until he was broken out. Other ones who live in there, you've got Karusha, who's kind of like a bone demon. She's kind of always hungry as well, because of her yokai ancestor was like formed from the bones of those who starved to death, so she's always hungry. You've got Watanuki, who's kind of like her love interest, and it's so sweet, who's like a tanuki. It's kind of in the name. Then you've got Natsume, who's kind of, you'd think he had some kind of bunny in him, but no, he's got like 1,000 eyes or something, so he can see into the future and things. He's really cool. You've got Nabara, who's got like Ice Woman, like Yukiona. You've got Sorinizuka, who's a cloth demon. He's got like cloth in him. You've got Kagero, who's also some kind of ram demon. And it's, yeah, he's so perverted. Everything in his mind is S&M. Who else? You've got, yeah, you also have like the maids as well, and the butler and the chef and stuff. They're all yokai, or have yokai blood in them as well. And it's really funny because Riichio has a really sharp tongue on her. She's very, oh, what's the term? She's not a tsundere. They call her like a sun or something, because she says something like really tsundere, but instead of being like, it doesn't bother me, she's like, oh, why did I say that? And she desperately wants to make friends, but she's very socially awkward because of her childhood and everything like that. And she was kind of idolized in her family, but didn't really get any love from her mum and dad, and her little sister was constantly loved, but she was raised by the entire family, being the throwback and having that particular power. And she's actually also engaged to Kakuro. Like, it was a family engagement, and she's not in the least bit interested in following through on that. And yeah, it's just really sweet. Like, it's everyday stuff. There is the occasional attack on the place, and now they're not there because they're afraid of humans, they're there because they're afraid of other yokai. And if they're out after twilight, they can get attacked as well, so they have to, so basically anyone who has like this demon blood in them, because they're like half, have to be super careful, because they attract demons to them, and that's what they're afraid of. So that's why they all usually live in the Maison de Ayakashi, and they still go to school and everything, but they're usually back home before twilight, and they try to not go out after that because they don't want to get caught up in the twilight hours, because they don't want to get into danger, and they're most likely to be killed then. Now, while they will reincarnate again, they won't be the same person, and that's something that plays into it, you know. one of the, I think it's the chef guy's son, he has a son, and he's kind of jealous of the fact that his dad will reincarnate again at some point, but he will never see, but he won't be his dad, and that runs through it. And they do end up making like one of the storylines is they end up making a time capsule and burying it in the garden for their future selves, kind of thing, or for them to come back and see, you know, in 10-20 years time. Now the anime leaves off in a really sweet place, and then you read the manga, and I'm not sure if I want to go into what happens in the manga because I'm still heartbroken by it. But one thing that struck me with the manga was the mangaka died not that long after it was completed. So we do actually have a full story. Now, a lot of people at the time thought that she died, that the mangaka had died before the story was completed, and were really, really upset. But it had turned out they'd turned in their last few manuscripts, and then they died not too long afterwards. So while it was still being serialized, there was still content to come, but people thought that it was going to be one that was never finished. Now, it did get finished, and it does get a nice ending. I have read most of the manga, and I had spoilers for it online. But I actually like where the anime leaves off, because I know what's coming in the manga, and I'm like, no, just let me have this moment of happiness. So so there's several love stories through it, okay? You've got Karuta and Watanuki, who are kind of very in love with each other, but Karuta's more just kind of very space cadet, and Watanuki's like, he's more of a tsundere. He's like, no, whatever. But then he's like really protective of her. And when anybody's like bullying her or picking on her, he's like, I'm a delinquent. Look at me. Don't look at me. And tries to take all of like the pressure off of her, or all of the like any kind of like bullying off of her. And he really loves her, and she really loves him too. And he's like, what, Tanuki? Yeah, you've got Richiya and Mikitsukami. Now, I struggle with their age difference, because he's like 22 and she's 15. And it's such a sweet romance between them. But I'm also like, the age difference kind of bugs me. But I still ship it. And I'm like, oh, I don't know how to feel about this. Because you find out... Actually, I won't spoil that because it's a good plot point. Moth. But yeah, basically you find out that Mikitsukami has known Richiya longer than she realises, because when he was younger, he had quite an abusive home life. Because basically what happens in his household and his family is when the fox is reborn, he's locked away because they don't want to lose their good luck, and he's like imprisoned in like a small building, and he doesn't see anybody or anything like that. He then kind of seduces a maid and gets out, but then ends up going to live with Kakuro, and that's how he also becomes friends with Natsume, and they spent their childhood like tormenting Watanuki. So he's got serious trauma. Poor Watanuki has serious trauma about that. But when Richiya and Kakuro got engaged, that's around the time that Mikitsukami becomes aware of Richiya. And that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to spoil anything, and it's really sweet how they fall in love. I'm not going to spoil. No spoilers this time. My lips. Oh, sealed. It's just so cute. But it leaves off in a really sweet place, and you're just like, I'm content. And then I made the mistake of reading the manga, and I was like, oh, knife, meat, heart. Why? Why did we do this to me? Why? So yeah, basically stuff goes down in the manga, which is heartbreaking, and then you get left off and you think that's it, there's no more. No. And then it continues, and you find out, so like I said, they all reincarnate, and then the second half of the story is about their newly reincarnated selves trying to figure out what happened and what caused the events that led to them reincarnating in the middle of the manga. And then that leads into more... It actually brings Richiyo and Mikitsukami closer in age, So instead of it being like 15 and 22, it's more like 15 and 20, which is a little bit more feasible in my mind and is less of an age gap, although I know in Japan that's not much of an age gap at all, and it's my Western brain speaking, but yeah. But everybody's, you know, a different age now, and the only one that survived is Soronizuka, so he's in his like 30s, 40s at this point, and he still remembers everybody and everything. And now some of them don't have their memories and some of them do still have their memories, and it's about unlocking them, because apparently they can retain their memories when they reincarnate. That's something that's brought up later, but they are slightly different people in other ways than they used to be, and it's interesting watching them navigate that while trying to figure out what fraction of yokai did them in. And it's a really good manga actually as well, and it has a nice ending and it has a nice resolution, but my main sad point about it is poor Watanuki and Karuta. That's all I'm going to say. Read the manga to find out why I say poor Watanuki and Karuta. Yeah, it's just so good. But if you don't like the set, if you don't want any of the depressing bits of it, just watch the anime. It's 12 episodes long. You get lots of cuteness, you get lots of sweetness, and you'll get a lot of laughs because it is a comedy. But yeah, just give it a go. It's dubbed and it's subbed, so the DVDs are available on Amazon, or even if you can't find them on Amazon, they're definitely around on eBay. Like, it was really popular when it came out. I think the hype has since died down. I really hope though that we do get a second season. I was kind of hoping that we would, but then again, the passing of the author probably means that we won't now. But yeah, sadness, cry. If you want to find out what happens, like I said, go read the manga. It's completed, so you have a full story. If you just want to see the fun stuff, just watch the anime. And yeah, best of both worlds. But if you've seen Boku SS, let me know down below in the comment section who your favourite is, what your favourite ship is. Mine is obviously Karuta x Watanuki for life. My favourite character though is definitely Kakuro, just because he's so fun, and I love how he just walks around being like, this is a masochist, this is a sadist, you'd think this one was a masochist but really it's a sadist, or you'd think this one was a sadist but really it's a masochist. I love his perviness as he goes around, and his life is just S&M, that's it. There is no grey, it is just this or this. There you go. So that's why he's my favourite. The world is very simple in his eyes. But no, other than that, my kittens, I'm sending you much love. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to eat something, drink something, and no forgetting your medication if you're on any. And I will see you in the next video. Mata ne!